On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
We have a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
If that doesn't get you hyped for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, I cannot help you. I just can't. What a treat this week, and what a horrible week for me to go and lose my voice. Welcome to episode number 46 of the My Nerd World Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Jon Justice, and we will see how long my voice holds out for the podcast today. So let me give you a little bit of background of what's been going on with me and how frustrating it was that we ended up getting this Rogue One trailer at the time when we did, at least for me personally. And you can hear the scratchiness in my voice. But I had recently moved back my showtime. I've been hosting here in Tucson, Arizona, the Jon Justice show for going on my 9th year. And for the past 2 years, well, for the first 6 years or so, I was on from 6 until 10. That's the time slot that I was hired. And a couple of years ago, they moved me to middays, 8 to noon. And in the radio world, that's a really, really big deal. I mean, that's a big time shift. You may think it's 2 hours, but 2 hours of mornings is a really big deal. And I was not happy about the move at the time and have been doing my best ever since then. Well, thankfully, the powers that be, new powers that be, the old powers that be, who did the change have moved on with life, thankfully. And the new powers that be saw fit to put the show back in its proper place. And that is 6 to 10. Now, because of that, I have to get up at well, I don't have to. I choose to. I get up at 2:45 every single morning, Monday through Thursday. And I do that so I have enough time to prep. I like doing that. I'm weird that way. I've done most of my 19 years of radio. I have done morning drive, and I like getting up super early. I have no problem during the week going to bed early, and I love being on 6 until 10 o'clock. And this was the first week back that I had to do that. Well, my body, because I'm getting old, my body saw fit to adjust in a way I didn't expect. And Wednesday, when I got home from work, I had a bit of a tickle in the back of my throat. And I wasn't feeling sick at all, but I knew something was up. Well, that later in that day, we got the announcement that we were going to be getting the teaser trailer for Rogue One. And I'm excited as all get out that we're going to be seeing this. It's going to be debuting, or it debuted when they teased it to be on Good Morning America on Thursday morning. And so I woke up on Thursday morning and my voice was rough. I knew there was something going on, but I drove into work. And it was funny because at the time when Good Morning America was dropping the trailer, it was about 4:45 my time, and I was on the road, and there was actually a part of me that I was going to pull over because I knew that they would put it up on YouTube right after it aired. I was going to pull over the side of the road to watch the trailer because we only saw a couple seconds of a new Stormtrooper from Wednesday, the teaser trailer that we got for it, the teaser trailer for the teaser trailer, right? But I decided, no, look, I'll drive into work. And I'll watch it. I'll watch it at the radio station. And that's what I did. I got in and got myself settled and went into one of the production studios with a big monitor, pulled it up on YouTube, and it was actually kind of cool. It was one of those moments where I won't ever forget the first time that I saw the first trailer for Rogue One. Much in the same way, I will never forget the first time I saw that trailer in November of 2014 for The Force Awakens. And I cranked it up because the computer is attached to the to a production board there, so I got really good speakers in there. And I'm not gonna lie, man, that trailer brought me to tears. We'll get into it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I went last night and watched A New Hope. I'll get into this as well. And boy, just seeing the trailer and going and watching A New Hope really does some interesting things when you're watching episode 4, and we'll get into that. But again, my personal story, and then I'll wrap this up, and we'll get into this trailer. But I ended up losing my voice. I went on the air, tried for a couple of segments, and just could not. It wasn't happening, and it was clear that my voice was going south really quickly. Now, this bummed me out, not just because it was the first week back of doing this time slot that I've been missing for 2 years. I knew it was probably not going to come back in time for Friday to do the show, but it bummed me out because I didn't have the opportunity to go and do a podcast for the trailer, which is what I've been waiting to do, and I was so mad. And even more frustrating was the fact that on my way home, because I'm off at 10 and I have the opportunity to do that, I would have a chance to record it and get it up, and nobody else had any podcasts up yet. I mean, eventually throughout the day, people started loading up YouTube videos, and my normal Star Wars podcasts began to come out. But I was just bummed because one of the reasons I do this podcast is because I love listening to other Star Wars podcasts. And so it really took me until later in the day, Friday, to be able to sit down now and record this podcast about this trailer. What you heard in the intro was an edit I made of the trailer itself. What I want to do now is just work through the trailer a little bit. I'm not going to spend a ton of time dissecting it. I just want to do a little bit of start and stop on the trailer and give you some of my initial thoughts. Most of the other podcasts that I've listened to have gone into great detail over every single shot, and sometimes I like to do that and sometimes I don't. This time I want to do a little bit of that, but I want to focus on the bigger picture. I want to focus on the bigger implications of what this movie means and what it does to A New Hope. Again, just watching the trailer, the teaser trailer for Rogue One, and then going and watching A New Hope, having just, a few minutes barely of visuals in my mind of what Rogue One will be about in the theft of the Death Star plans. Spoiler alert, obviously. I mean, I don't know much more than anybody else does, but if you're not looking to be spoiled in any way, then I would stop listening now. And then go tell a friend to make up for the fact that you stopped listening, because I don't want to lose any listeners. But I want to get into, again, I want the larger implications when you go and watch A New Hope, knowing that this movie is sitting out there essentially as a prequel, even though Disney is doing everything it can to not go and call it a prequel. So let's dive into the trailer here, and we'll just kick it off.
State your name for the record.
Jyn Erso.
Forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, resisting arrest.
On your own from the age of 15, reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
Okay, let me stop here real quick. So the beginning of the trailer, you hear, the very familiar Star Wars music done by piano. John Williams is not doing the soundtrack for this. Alexander Desplat, I believe that's how you say his name. Gareth Edwards, who directed Godzilla, is directing this film, which we all know by now. If you don't, this has been described as a war movie. They got a lot of the people that were involved in, I believe, Black Hawk Down and Zero Dark 30 to handle the action and the cinematography. But the very beginning of it, you hear these charges being read against Jyn, the main protagonist, played by Felicity Jones. And you see her on Yavin, the rebel base from A New Hope, which the Empire doesn't know where it is until the end of A New Hope. And, she's cuffed. What's interesting about it is, though, there's a rebel soldier that's taking her through the hangar at Yavin of the rebel base, and it doesn't look like she's leading her, almost like Jyn is following her. My point to all this is, my speculation is that she was arrested by the Imperials. The rebels are just that. They're rebels. Don't forget, the Senate is still in play. And so the charges against her obviously were she was caught doing something by the Empire, and perhaps somebody from the Rebel Alliance was able to go and maybe transfer her, take her out of Imperial custody and into the custody of the rebellion. It seems pretty clear that she's coming face to face with the rebellion for the first time. And you can understand a circumstance where perhaps there were charges against her as it relates to a particular planet where she did something illegal, and officials from that planet were the ones that end up extraditing her, and therefore the rebels are able to go and get her into custody. So there's been there also has been some speculation that perhaps that dialogue was taken from the end of the film after she has already stolen the plans, let's say. But I firmly believe that this is towards the beginning of the movie. The rebels are able to get her in their possession because they singled her out for her specific skills to go and join the rebellion in this quest. Okay, so let's go ahead and... and then the other cool part about it is, of course, you see Mon Mothma. And when I first saw Mon Mothma on screen, standing in front of the green war boards, I call them war boards, but the big glass sheets of glass in the rebel battle room that have the green lines on them, right? And you see them at the end of a New Hope. You see Mon Mothma. The first time I saw her, I thought maybe they CGI'd Mon Mothma. An actress who plays Mon Mothma, but they CGI'd her face to make her look like Mon Mothma did in Return of the Jedi, because she looks just like her. The actress who plays Mon Mothma is actually the same actress who played Mon Mothma in Revenge of the Sith, but that scene was cut out. For those that don't know, there's a deleted scene that I really wish they hadn't cut out of the film. But in Revenge of the Sith, there is a deleted scene where you see the very beginning of the rebellion, and Mon Mothma is there along with Padme, and I'm pretty sure Jimmy Smits is there as well. I'm pretty sure no, that's not Captain. He played Bail Organa. Guy totally blanked out there for a second. Bail Organa. I'm pretty sure he's there as well in that deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith. But that actress who played Mon Mothma in Revenge of the Sith, that deleted scene, is the same actress that you see in the trailer for Rogue One. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's go ahead and continue.
We have a mission for you.
Now, at this point, you end up seeing the Death Star. And you see the Star Destroyers around the Death Star, and you end up seeing the cannon being lowered into the Death Star. I mean, that shot gave me chills. And I've seen a lot of people online calling into question the color of the Star Destroyers. Well, saying, well, they were gray, not white. That's not true. The Star Destroyer that you see, that you get the best shot of in the trailer, is exactly the same class, could even be, we don't know, but is exactly the same class of Star Destroyer that you see at the very beginning of A New Hope. And it's very, very white. They only really got gray later in the movies, in Empire Strikes Back. But the different classes have different tones, and so they really did their homework on this. And this is a part of the podcast that we'll talk about, too, is that I hope they did all of their homework, because that was one of my biggest problems with the prequels, and I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, was, some of the things that they should have tied together, they did a bad job of tying together. But, and of course now they're beginning to explain, what it is they need Jin for.
A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me stop here. I'm going to go here for just a moment. She's got an accent. And I remember a lot of people, including myself, saying, boy, if Felicity Jones in Rogue One has an accent, that could, of course, lend itself to, here we're going to go, could she